All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Quiet Riot Show, and we are doing a little bit different today, something different today. We were supposed to have a guest today on, but we had to cancel because unfortunately Tim had a passing in the family, so he's not here today, and our thoughts and prayers go to his family. But the show must go on, and I figured who would be better to get on this show than our good friend of the show, and he was a guest on our show as well in the past. Talked about some of his shit that he went through. So Bretzky, he's back again. Welcome back.
Wow.
Thank you for joining.
I can't believe you thought this was a good idea.
Well, we're going to have some fun, and, we're going to discuss some things about men's health that we go through every day. And You and I had lots of conversations, when we did our other podcast together or just had a few drinks over, even on our chats as well.
Just a few.
Yeah, just a few. Yeah, exactly. We went through our fair shares of struggles, and so it's why not to have you on the show and just kind of have a discussion about it. So, but before we do that, why don't we check in?
Let's do it.
What number are you today, Bretzky?
Let's go with the solid 8.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's very very positive. That's good.
I'm flying pretty high right now. It's been decent lately. The weather's turning around. That's a good starter. Always helps. When you can actually feel good going outside, not feel like you're just trying to not die.
Yeah. Well, and this winter has been quite mild. It hasn't been crazy. So
it's been a BC winter. Did I ever tell you I used to live in BC?
Many times.
With relation to probably what we're going to talk about, busy season at work is finishing up right now. So, a lot of my stressful season should now be over for a couple months. So I get that breather, the nice weather, and just overall not dealing with as much of the stress as I usually am.
Cool. That's good. 8 is great. That's a really, really high number, like for the show at least, because most of us have been 6 and 7s. And
that's often where I hover.
Yeah.
That's often where I hover.
That's good.
So
that's good.
It's
awesome.
Nice little turnaround for the time being.
Cool.
I think I gave myself a really high rating last time I was here too, for some reason or another. So,
well, and that's okay. Like, because how you feel.
Oh, I had just started seeing one of my stepson again. We had started kind of reconnecting last time. So that's
pretty cool.
So yeah, you tend to catch me on the upswings here. Good thing, cause you catch me on one of those downswings, it'd be a really miserable show.
I mean, I think that would be a great show for our listeners as well.
Yeah, we'll do it one of these days.
Maybe for our ratings too.
Come get me crying some more.
Yeah, no, 8 is a good number. I'm actually quite low. This is the most recent show for us, and the last 3 weeks I've been dealing with a pinched sciatic nerve, and so I can't really do my regular chores. Like we got that dump of snow last week, and I was just like struggling. In the morning I woke up and I'm like, oh shit, all the snow got blown into my garage, right? And then so I quickly just shoveled 2 paths. Like, I was in so much pain for the rest of the day. And then finally took out the snowblower, but it was just hard for me to do that. So it's just been a lot of like pain and suffering for me. It's getting better, but also I'm super lazy and don't do my exercises that I should be doing because I come home and I just want to sit down. Like, lazy boy has been my best friend for the last 3 weeks because
I don't even need a pinched nerve to have that attitude, man. Like, I don't know what you're feeling so bad about.
Yeah. Well, I have a wife and kids that require my attention, and that's just been tough. So, but it is what it is. I'm a solid 5. 6 between somewhere there, but anyways, that's enough of our check-in. let's move on.
Hopefully we'll make you feel better by the end of the show.
Yeah. Today, we will talk about a topic that I think many men struggle. As far as I heard from friends and other men at my workplace, is the work-life balance. Because we, going to work, it's something we have to do. Whether you go to actual factory or to an office or you work from home, it's something that we need to do in order for us to provide for ourselves food, roof over our head, all the fun things that we want to be doing, right? And lately, and this is kind of post-COVID, that I've been hearing that, we're just so busy. We're just so busy. I don't have time for this. I don't have time for that. And it's like people are finding a really tough time to actually balance shit out.
They really got used to not having anything but work to
right.
To deal
yeah,
with,
exactly. And then myself too. Like if I look at my calendar right now, I don't have a free day in a week.
See, the trick to that is just don't own a calendar.
Yeah. Exactly.
Problem solved. I'm here all week. Oh shit, we didn't do the not a doctor statement at the beginning of this. We probably should absolutely do that if I'm going to be on this show.
I think people know already that we are not professionals, and it's just we're just sharing our ideas. But again, so like every day I have, whether it's my son's activity, my daughter's activity, we do something with my wife. We do Toastmasters together, me and the wife.
Yep.
And then I have my hockey and like...
That's where they teach you to make really good toast, right?
Yeah.
Like use all the finest butters.
Yeah, exactly.
Really good jam.
And so like, I'm so exhausted at the end of the day. And then sometimes like the over-exhaustion is a real thing. Then that's when you can't sleep, actually, because your mind is just racing constantly. It's like, okay, what do I have to do the next day? And like... I don't even do that good of a job, whereas my wife, like, she has to give me reminders, and she's on top of everything, and I give her kudos for that because she's been really tired lately because she has to catch up on my own thing too. And
well, and I think that's another thing you could probably touch on with this subject is like traditionally work-life balance is something that men have had to deal with, but in today's world, it's not just men because with the way the economy has gone, there's no such thing as like the one income household anymore virtually, right?
No,
so and that makes that balance that much tougher because it's not just your work-life balance that you need to match up, it's hers as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
it's insane. So like, yeah, like if you, I think, and I don't want to really speak on it. This is just what I think it might be, and you can talk on this. But like, if you're single, I think shit can be a little bit easier because, like exactly what you just said, that you don't have that other variation in your scheduling. That shit, now what does she have to do, or your partner have to do, or if you have kids,
it has its own pros and cons. I'll say that, right? Like, yes, like you said, there are less things you have to worry about fitting into that schedule, but there's also things that you don't have that extra help in.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. So it kind of goes both ways, right?
Yeah.
And
the double-edged sword.
Yeah, and it's, I don't know, like I find it really hard to balance that life. And I've heard many people say the same shit. Now, I have a coworker who's like, I played 6 hours of video games. I'm like, you son of a bitch. Like, I'm so jealous, Like, if I want to play video games, it means I'm sacrificing sleep.
Yeah. Well, and it doesn't help that, especially since the pandemic, a lot of companies have really not kept up with cost of living inflation when it comes to their wages. So that's just putting that much more extra pressure on everybody because not only did they have all this stress that they had before, but now they can't afford anything either. Yeah. Like a week or so ago went to the grocery store and spent like $115 and walked out with everything in one grocery bag.
Yeah. It's insane. Like I did the same thing. I grabbed a basket and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to fill this basket. I'm not taking a cart. Yeah, $130 like that.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
Like $300 used to be a good solid fridge full for the whole family for the 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And nowadays, $300, like you're scraping scraps, basically.
So shit like that, gets added into the equation, right? And like, I don't know, like I know Tim told me about his stuff that at home, like he's working from home. Sometimes he's working from the office, but it's so hard because even if you're working at home, like I don't know, I can't speak on people that are working from home full time, but Tim was saying that it's really hard because you're working and then the wife or kid asks like, hey, can you do this, can you do that, or you're there and you're automatically available, right? And it's like, well, I am working right now, like there should be a wall here that you shouldn't see me, right? And I don't know what we as humanity need to do. Not just men, like you said. It's I think goes for all genders.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the fix is. Like, what could we do to?
No, and it's funny because you go back 20, 30 years, and the problem used to be the complete opposite. Was you would have a job where someone was never at home, right? Like you travel all the time. So it was the washing machine would always break down when you're not away, and the roof would start leaking, or something would always go wrong, and you're not home to fix it. And now it's gone complete, like you just said, 180, where now you're always home, so you're expected to be able to fix everything.
Yeah. And I truly believe that's COVID kind of caused that.
Absolutely.
Because we were at home all the time, and most of us. I still had to go to work.
Well, and so many corporations realize we don't need an office.
100%. 100%. And so they right away are just... And I think rightfully so, if you're a business owner and you're trying to squeeze out as much of those workers to make more money, sure, why not, right?
Yeah.
Is it right? I don't think so. But I'm unionized worker, so I look at things differently.
I mean, in a lot of scenarios, productivity went way up, and why pay for an office if you're getting more productivity out of people not coming into one?
Yeah, but now, for example, in your case, you could be doing your work, most of it you could do it from home, right? But due to certain technicalities, I can't.
Yeah. And have to drive from outside the city to downtown every single day. And that's a couple $100 a week just in gas itself, let alone the time, eating lunch, stuff like that. Like when I lived at home, I could just kind of snack on whatever I had around the house throughout the day. But
I'm so actually jealous because same thing. It takes me half an hour to get to work, and some of my coworkers live like 2 minutes away, and so they go home for a quick lunch, or whatever. And I'm just like, or even like they finish their shift at 3 and they're home at 3:05. I'm like, damn it, that sounds so.
Well, that was like a few days back. Last week there, I stayed in the city one night just because there was a really bad snowstorm, and I knew that I had a lot of work the next day,
so you couldn't skip
and there was a very good chance the highways would not be drivable in the morning. So I was like, I'm just going to stay in the city, so at least that way I can make sure I get to work, even if it takes me a little bit of extra time in the morning. And oh shit, I just had a brain fart now. I don't remember what I was saying with this. So it was so nice in the morning. Like it took me like 15 minutes to get to work, and I was just like, what?
Yeah.
Like I could sleep like an extra hour if I lived in the city, and so it was just so easy. There was so much less stress in the drive because I mean, the highway for the most part is really great, but it can be its own stress when there's days that it's not great.
Oh yeah, it can be an ice rink.
And then you get to the city and you have to deal with not only crappy road conditions, but really, really stupid drivers. And so by the time
I have a feeling we're going to turn this episode into a rant on drivers.
By the time you get to work, you're so frustrated.
Yeah.
But that's part of it, right, too? Like you start your day frustrated. Then you work a whole day overworked and underpaid. Then you got to come home, spend $100 on a bag of groceries and then find the energy to clean your house afterwards. Like, where is that balance anymore? Like, it is really, really tough. Well, and I think it's something that it's starting to become more and more widespread. I don't feel like there is much of a middle class anymore, right? Like, middle class used to be the majority of people, and now I feel like a good majority of people are either struggling to get from paycheck to paycheck or their money's not an issue. There's very few people that are just kind of in that comfortable zone of like, I make enough money, you know, things are good. I can take a trip here and there if I want to.
See, like, so and as I was thinking about this whole work-life balance, me growing up in Europe, it was very much like mom and dad went to work Monday to Friday, you know, and I don't remember them like seeing any like cleaning done or anything. It was just like I had like a couple of my activities during the week, but you know, they would come home, mom would cook, and dad would just like, you know, hang out, help her out, go whatever, do some things. I never. It's like in the Wedding Crash. I never know what he's doing back there. You know? Like that was just kind of hovering around, and but then Saturday came. And so Saturday was, okay, this is when we clean. So I had to clean my room. Like I remember I had these little Matchbox cars in this cabinet. So I would take them out. I would dust. I would put them back on, clean the glass on it, and then like vacuum. You know, my parents would do the bathrooms and all that. And that would be Saturday. And then on Sunday, it was like siesta. Like Sunday was
the day to rest.
And yeah, exactly. It's like, I guess part of being raised, trying to be raised as a Christian. It was, Sunday we would go to church, and then mom would like be up already at 6 a.m. cooking everything. So everything's cooked. We go to church, we come home, we have lunch, and lunch was always the biggest thing. Like I know in North America, dinner is like the family thing. But for us, it was always Sunday lunch.
My dad's side of the family was European, so it was the same thing. Okay, you go to Oma's house, and when you showed up in the morning, there was already a full spread.
My favorite thing was once I started going to the bars, and then you know I come home at like 4 a.m, and all I can hear on Sunday morning, my mom's like tenderizing the meat, you know. I'm like, oh shit,
got the cleaver out.
But you know, and then so after lunch my parents would literally like, and not just my parents, all of us, we would like, let's see what's on TV. And I remember as a kid at 3 p.m. there was always like 3 original Walt Disney cartoons, and it was either like Mickey Mouse, Goofy, Donald Duck, you know, one of them the short 10-minute stories or whatever they are. And that was our thing. Like I would always watch that, and they would pop in a movie, and then we would just be like, most of the time, like, let's go watch a movie. And my dad would be on the couch, I would be laying down on the ground and watching the TV, and we would pass out with our bellies full, right? And and that was a thing. Like we had time to like recharge.
So I think that's what one of the major differences is. You look back then, and you had to go to work and you had to deal with home. And dealing with home back then, you didn't have a cable bill, an internet bill, a hydro bill, this bill, that bill, a car bill, you know, like that. Everything was a lot simpler back then.
Yeah, well, they didn't have a 2-story house with like 3 or 4 bathrooms.
Exactly. You had what you needed. And that gave you that extra energy for when you were at home to be a bit have a bit more of that militant style where you clean as you go, and you can be strict about getting someone to clean. Whereas like that's one thing I find I'm really bad at now, because I am so done with it by the time that I come home and do the couple chores that I have to do, that I tell my kid to go do something. And if he doesn't do it, like I'm already so wiped out that I'm just kind of like checked out and doing my own thing, flipping on my phone or watching the TV, that a lot of times it's not until like 8:30, 9 o'clock that I'm like, he never even did that. Oh God, now I gotta go like talk about it, and you know, like.
But then you didn't do it either.
No, well,
but because I do that too. It's like I come home and I'm like, I'm gonna sit down right now, and then I forget about it, right? And then,
absolutely.
and then I'm trying to give my kid a shit, and my daughter, like, she's so smart, like, she's turning 15 this year, and she's just like, Dad, you also didn't do your stuff. I'm like, shut up.
I give myself the pass because I at least do it most days.
Yeah,
Where I'm like, nobody has to tell me
yeah.
on a daily basis, remind me of my chores in order for them to be done.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you know, parenting has changed a whole bunch as well over the years. And I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. Like, I'm not here advocating that we, you know, bring back spanking and all that kind of punishment and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got different results out of kids when you did that.
Oh,
now, you
yeah.
got different later life outcomes from those kids as well. So
There's
that's
definitely a little bit of trauma.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying I'm not necessarily advocating for it, but like in a simpler time with everyone being more on point
more
about what they
stricter,
had
yeah,
to
yeah.
do, you know, shit got done and then it was just done. Whereas now, you know,
Well,
one little lazy day can start backing everything up.
Yeah, it's great. It's a snowball effect, right?
Yeah.
Like, it just gets bigger and bigger. It piles up.
Hey, Tommy, among all the episodes we've recorded, you know, there's one common theme, and that's getting therapy. We've talked about it lots.
Many times.
You
Yeah.
had a really tough time making that first phone call. I had a tough time making that first phone call. I didn't even know if the person I was going to see was the right person, but you got to just try. Thank goodness we have a sponsor that makes it way easier now. BetterHelp has an online platform that allows you to fill out a questionnaire. They connect you with a therapist, and you get to communicate with them however you want. So whether that's text messaging, that's emails, that's through their app, that's video chats, you get all those options, and it makes it way less scary to be connected with someone. And if you're not into the person you talk to, they'll sign you another one right away. I've gotten assigned mine already, and I can't wait to use it. Like, by the time you hear this, I will have had my first session, and I'm super pumped to talk about it on the show.
Yeah, I'm very excited about it, and like, it's very easy to sign up. It took us maybe 5 minutes to sign up, and you answer just simple questions, and next thing you know, you got a message that you will be paired up with a therapist, and within the same day, we got the therapist already, and the name and a message from them, and we were able to communicate with them. So it's extremely easy. So please go to BetterHelp.com. Yeah, that's the thing. BetterHelp.com/Quiet Riot Show, and you get to also enjoy 10% off for your first month if you sign up using this link. So again, right here, I'm going to be doing it from here. Yeah, it's BetterHelp.
Am I screwing it up?
.com/Quiet Riot Show. Yeah, sign up today, and you're not going to regret it, because I'm already enjoying it. Just the fact that we connected with a therapist.
Me too, man.
Thank you to BetterHelp for supporting this podcast. Now, I have had many discussions with my wife about this, and yeah, she if she listens to this, she might have another one with me. But you know, I grew up again, and I'm comparing that because that's how I remember being as a kid, and like I'm seeing now myself as a parent with my kids, and I had maybe a couple activities throughout the whole week.
Yeah.
And it was like one of them was 2 days a week, and the other one was really just once a week or whenever I wanted to. And it was I found it was great for me, you know, because then I also had some free time just to go hang out with my friends, right? And whatever. But again, growing up in a small town, I could go out and hang out with my friends, just go knock on the door. Hey, is Johnny home? No. Okay. Is Billy home? No. Is whatever home? Yeah, sure.
Klaus.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know why I think you had a friend named Klaus back home.
I actually didn't. But you know, it was easy for me to kind of, as a kid, do my activities and then go out with friends. But I find that our kids, this generation, we tend to, like, at least for my family, we tend to pile up activities on them because, well, do you want to do this? Oh, sure. Okay, let's do it. So my daughter doing gymnastics 3 times a week, plus she's coaching on the 4th day, and she's got piano. So that's 5 days of the week that she has something.
Yep.
Now my son has taekwondo 2 days a week and drumming. Sorry, 3 times a week taekwondo and drumming.
Oh, I don't miss that.
Right? And then me and the wife are doing Toastmasters. My wife tries to go on a walk with her friend every once in a while, and I also play hockey. And so this is the winter time, and in the summer we try to go camping, right?
Right.
So like we have every day something, and I'm just like, well, part of me like, well, kids don't need as many activities.
Yeah, can I just come home and watch Simpsons one night, or
right?
Like...
But I don't know, and then, but also part of me doesn't want to take that opportunity away from them because my parents gave me certain things, and do I feel like they could have done more for me? Sure.
Yeah. See,
do I understand now my parents why they didn't? 100%.
Yeah, but I think that's another big difference between the two generations is like when we were young, I feel like a lot of parents couldn't afford to do all the things we do for our kids nowadays.
I'm not saying I can.
And but we just accepted that, you know, when parents said, I can't afford that, it was like, okay, well, that's kind of how it is. Usually, like, in our generation, kids had one thing. Yeah. Right? Like, you got to play hockey, or you got to...
Well, I mean, hockey is almost like a full-time activity, and it's so
I never
expensive.
got to play it growing up, and understandably so. But, you know... And I think, and same even with toys and stuff like that. Like, we wanted toys, and parents would just be like, no, like, I can't afford that. And so many of us didn't have a lot of those, like, you know, like the G.I. Joe aircraft carrier. Yeah. Everyone had one friend who had it.
And but you all brought your G.I. Joes to his house, and you played with it,
Yeah, but, like, most kids knew they weren't going to be the kid that got the G.I. Joe aircraft carrier.
That's right, yeah.
You know, and... I think it's one of those things that in our generation, because it hasn't become more feasible, but for some reason I think like we feel as parents, we want to give our kids the things that we didn't get to have. Yeah. And so we are spending so much more on our kids, whereas our parents were just like, no, go play outside. Like, sorry. It is what it is, and we're like, no, you got to be in swimming, you got to be in taekwondo, you got to be in guitar lessons, you got to go learn your jujitsu and parkour and like dragon boat, exactly. Mountain climbing,
and so like it's tough, and like you know when you work all day, and
here's a $700 Xbox for your birthday, like.
Yeah, exactly. So it's tough, you know, like, and part of me feels like, okay, I'm just working my ass off, and then I just literally see the money leave the bank account the day after I get paid.
Oh, God, yeah. 2 days after, you're already planning, like, okay, so we got another 14 days to go.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
How are we getting there? That's our financial struggle right there. You're like, okay, I need to still be able to have enough gas to get to work. Enough food in the fridge that we're not just eating Mr. Noodles, and sometimes that just happens.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't love Mr. Noodles? me and my son, we actually love those. We always have him stocked.
I don't mind it either. And at 30 cents a bag, I mean,
you can't go wrong. Yeah,
you don't have a choice nowadays but to stock that.
Yeah. But these are the sacrifices we sometimes have to make, I guess, right? And I am truly jealous of people that decide to maybe not give kids as many activities, or they just say go outside and play,
or
you know,
or just be really energetic parents and spend all their time with the kids. You know, I definitely know a few of them that
kudos to those people.
Absolutely, I give those people more respect than anyone on the planet, because they are not only being great parents, but they're also saving themselves a shit ton of money that they can then use for other things to benefit their kids' lives. But it again circles back to that work-life balance, that not everybody has that energy. And it doesn't mean you're a bad person. Like, I would love to be like that. with my kid, and I cannot.
I don't know how some people do it.
Me neither. My mom went back when she worked. She was an EA, so like educational assistant. So and she used to regularly bug me, like, we need more guys on the force because we only have females, and you know there's male students that certain things require male assistance and stuff like that. And I was just like, nah. Like, I am sorry, but you could not pay me enough money in the world.
Yeah, I don't have
to
the
like
for that either.
I love my kids.
I don't. Most of the time, I love my kids. Yeah, I love them all the time.
I love them, but
I don't like them all the time.
Exactly. That's how we got to put it. Yeah. So, but like other people's kids can be really rough to deal with. Some people's kids I love. Some people have great kids. But like when you're working in a school, you don't get that choice. And that would not have been for me. I could anybody who works in the educational system has so much of my respect, not only for, you know, helping educate the next generation of this planet, but having the patience to deal with them while also doing that.
Oh God, yeah. Like it's so funny because like my daughter's in grade 9 right now, and she was like selecting her classes for grade 10 already, and just like, man, like now I know what you say, because I remember you telling me like they have video editing classes and this, and then one of them was like web design, and I told my daughter, I'm like, dude, take it, I'll get you jobs. Like, you can charge a shit ton of money to create websites.
Yeah.
Nah. And then, cool, okay, like she wants to become a teacher, and, you know, that's her path, and the classes that she took.
Teach a web design class.
But it was just like, I was blown away, like, the activity and what the whole education system, how it works right now, because for me, it was completely different. Like,
it was math, science, English.
Oh, and like we like in Europe, it's actually even more. We had I had biology, chemistry up to grade 12. Like, it wasn't like
they become options in the later grades here.
No, not like in Slovakia. It was straight up like in the school. The school that I went to was supposed to prep you for university, like it's just kind of like a general university thing where you explore what you want to do, but they still taught you all the subjects. Like, we had history right up till grade 12. We had the biology, chemistry, math was like, we couldn't use calculators. My calculator was a piece of paper and a pen. And and the teacher was
because you're not gonna have a calculator in your pocket all your whole life.
I know, right? But now part of me thinks though that it's helped me, because I understand why the numbers add up to that point, right? So, but it was just like very interesting that how I finished high school and how my daughter's going through high school right now. Like, they're picking subjects that I never they're almost teaching them life skills, and I like that.
Yeah,
because my chemistry teacher was literally giving me the answers to the test because she knew I'm dumb as fuck, and I'm never gonna be a chemist.
So my son's school it's trying a new format. It's called project-based learning. Mm-hmm. So instead of the old format that you and I went to, where it's math, science, English, French, whatever, what they do is you pick a learning path. So the first year they make you take a little bit of everything, but there's 4 learning paths. There's like academics, sciences, media, and arts. I think are the 4 paths. So the first year you take a little bit of everything just to make sure you get a feel of it. And then once you get into the second year, then that's when you pick your path. And then within your path you start picking courses. So my son, for example, took media, so he had options of learning like podcasting, media, print, marketing, like all of those types of things. And then what they do is, instead of you having a math class or whatever, for example, you go into your let's say it's an audio engineering class.
Yeah.
So your math will be math that has to do with
that
acoustics
industry.
and stuff like that. And your science will also kind of
you're
fall
not going to
into
learn
that. And
statistics on that.
and then instead of doing like regular schoolwork and stuff, you're placed into groups. They give you a project that incorporates all of this knowledge, and then you all do a project together and are graded based on your overall understanding of everything. So there has been criticism of it because people are like, oh, well, kids go there and then grades just suddenly rise, and it's got to be because it's just easier. They're not being as harsh on them. But it's like, well, not everybody, though. Like, there are definitely a group of kids that excel in the traditional style.
Yep.
You know, where you take classes, you read books, and you do tests.
Yep.
But there are kids, and I feel like I would have benefited from this massively.
Oh, 100%.
That it's more of this hands-on approach, and it also sets you in the direction of the path that your interests lie.
Yeah.
So at least you're learning, and when you're learning things that are in a path that interests you, like I think we can speak on, like when we started podcasting, neither of us knew a damn thing about how to work a studio or a soundboard or anything like that. And we spent hundreds of hours.
Countless hours of
watching YouTube videos,
Yeah.
troubleshooting, flipping switches up and down and trying to figure out why like nothing was
Oh
working.
my God, actually, my daughter asked me a couple of days ago, what does troubleshooting mean? And I was so disappointed.
You bring her down here, flip one switch, and go, now make it work.
Yeah, exactly. No, but yeah, it's so I love this new system that the how our generation is being brought up, because I think it's really like showing them different avenues, and okay, you like this, then head down this path, right?
Yeah.
Because again, like, why would you need to learn calculus if you want to be a arts teacher, or an artist like that does painting and stuff,
and
right?
for example, when I was in high school, I would have loved to have taken band, but I didn't, because the mindset back then was, where's that going to get you in life?
Yeah.
So I took all computer courses because computers were the future.
Where did it take you?
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong, that my knowledge of computers, I have used it to my benefit, but I've also spent a damn big portion of my life in music, and having been in band and stuff like that and understanding music,
and that's
would have helped me a whole bunch as well. So that whole mentality of do what's going to be the future,
well,
I think is
that's
maybe
what I meant. Like, I think
being
your,
revised. Like,
your vision of computer science was different than what you use those skills for in your life right now, right?
Yeah, and had I taken music, my path in life could have been very different.
100%.
Right? And I could have used those skills to take me down a path that maybe would have done things that would have not necessarily made as much money, but would have fulfilled me
It's something
a lot
you
more.
love doing. And then when you love doing something,
you don't work.
It really doesn't become it's not a job. It just becomes a hobby that you
I
might get
think
paid for.
That's an important thing we need to consider with our kids when it comes to future work-life balance, right? Is like, I think we need to be more supportive of our kids doing what they want to do. Now, that's really tough because so many of them, as you know, want to be a YouTuber. But I mean, the same thing goes if you would have told me as a kid that I'd be doing essentially a radio show.
Yeah.
I would have been like, come on, man. Only people from Hollywood get to do that.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
And yet here we're not making any money, but
yeah.
But well, maybe you are. I don't know.
But very little.
but the point is, like, again, I mean, had YouTube been around when I was a kid, my childhood pastime was I had a home camcorder, and me and my friends did our own like Saturday Night Live, basically. Like, we would make up skits,
you need to find those.
I have a few VHS tapes of them.
Yeah, we gotta have a
I kind of know where they are.
session,
But that's what we would do. We would come up with these skits. We would spend like nights like writing out skits, and then we would, over the span of the next couple weeks, record them all, and then we would put them onto a VHS tape. And you would just watch that all the time, and it was just between us. But like, had YouTube been around,
Oh my God! All right.
we could have been
exactly.
publishing that, and a lot of it was actually, I mean, for its time at least, pretty damn funny, right? So like, had YouTube been around, I'd have probably been a millionaire right now. That's what I like to think, at least.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things that there's certain things that we did not have in our life, and that's why I think we are. I think we're that generation where we went from.
We were the in between. We had both.
Yeah,
we had the pre-technology
we went from,
and the post-technology.
And like, if you think about it, technology has evolved. Like, I think that the previous big step was when an airplane could fly.
Well, and that's the thing. You look at our grandparents' lives,
Yeah.
right? Like, when they were born, likely cars were just hitting the road, kind of thing.
And there was no supercars.
There was no flight.
That's right.
We hadn't been to space.
Yeah.
We didn't have cures for even simple diseases.
Yeah.
So like, they lived to see through all of that, and then we lived to see through, like, when we were kids, like, you were lucky to have the little, the pocket poker kind of games where it's like
Tetris. I was the Tetris guy.
Oh yeah. Tetris, those types
that
of
was
games.
so cool.
To the point where now I was here, your kid's playing virtual reality, and I was throwing balls at him to try to get his attention.
Yeah, that's like, it's crazy how like the technology in the last even 20 years. Like, I moved here 20 years ago.
Well, yeah, I
moved to Canada 20 years ago. I still had
Y2K.
I still had a Nokia phone that took, like, oh my God, you can take pictures with this now. Picture was horrible. Like,
yeah, it was grainy as hell. You
couldn't tell. Like, if you
it wasn't even 1 megapixel.
No.
Like,
and so, like, I'm like, but that was already like cool. And then now, technically, I could get rid of both my computers and use just my phone for like everyday banking and like just usage, emails and stuff like that. So it's mind blowing that what you can do now with the technology, and I think part of it is scary too for me, because I see my kids, get on it right away when they get home from work. Now, are they being antisocial? If I compare it to how I was growing up, for sure, because you should go out with your friends.
Yeah, go ride your bikes.
But I think they're being actually very social, but it's all online.
Yeah, and that was actually one thing I
understand a little of.
I was going to actually bring up about this whole balance thing is screen time.
Yeah.
Because that's a thing that we didn't have when we were young, and it is a very big part of today's lifestyle. Like you were just saying, not all of it's bad. Like there is a lot of productive things you can do with your screen. And then that's another thing that I've noticed with my son too. Like, I mean, he spent a few formative years right during the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
So he really, really got hooked into that whole online socialization.
You didn't see your classmates or anything, so it was all online.
And there's often times where I'll tell him, like, hey man, why don't you invite a few friends over? Like, just play video games all together here. And he's like, why?
Yeah.
Like, when we do it the way we do it, we all have our own room, our own TV, our own stuff. We're in our area.
And I get it because
I don't need that. And we're still talking to each other.
Yeah.
Like, why does his mindset is, why does the person need to be sitting beside me?
But for you and I, that makes sense, because we used to do that. We would get together with friends and watch each other play games, and like we would take turns. But now they're playing the same game.
Or we would even not play a game. We would just sit there and talk to each other. But like, that's just a weird thing to do nowadays, apparently. Yeah. Like, unless you're online doing an activity together, you're like, why are we talking?
Yeah, right. It's weird. So
the whole social dynamic has changed. So like, I think in the future you're going to run into even more difficulties with this balance, because you're growing anxieties as well too. Like, I feel like my kid probably doesn't even like
what the
having
solution,
to associate.
You know what
with
the
people.
solution is is that new Apple Vision thing. Because now people will be able to go in public, slap that on, and still be online, but they're out in public now.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, like it's crazy.
I think we got to do similar to how they used to teach kids to swim by just throwing them off the dock. We got to just throw a bunch of kids in a room and close the door.
Oh my god, yeah, we should actually put it to a test. That would be hilarious.
That would be a good social experiment.
Yeah, no. So yeah, I guess it's a topic that we can't really. I don't think anybody can.
There's nothing to
solve
pinpoint.
It.
Yeah, there's nothing to pinpoint. There's so many different angles.
Learning how to balance your work, your activities, your fun activities, and your family
necessary activities.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's really hard. We actually, me and my wife had a chat about this, that in the past, like before kids were older and we signed them up to all these crazy activities, was we would get together once a month and just kind of like, hey, let's hang out. Kids can hang out together, and they played, watched movie, whatever, Parents were upstairs having some drinks, some food, and it was great. Like we did that once a month. But all of a sudden, like the activities grew, the schedules grew, and we just there's a few friends that we haven't seen like.
You
in
can't
over
just
2
stick
years.
a couple teenagers in a room anymore.
No, because it's awkward. Yeah, or I don't know. Like, it's just I don't know how to fix it, but we actually said that we're gonna have to schedule put our friends in our schedule and be like, hey, on this date we are getting together for dinner with the kids, because that's the only way we're going to see them. You know
what I'd like to hear in this show in the future from you and Tim? I can't put my perspective in this, but it's growing up with daughters.
Oh,
because that is something that like I've got sons, and like I feel like daughters would be a bit easier and more fun maybe when they're younger. But when they hit the age that dating starts, I would have a loaded gun on me at all times. Like I don't know how I would even sleep at night, because I know how guys were when we were young, and it has not gotten better.
No. So here's my thing. I've had this conversation with my daughter, and I showed her 2 video clips. One was from Bad Boys 2. when Reggie shows up at the door,
yeah.
And then the second one was from Den of Thieves with 50 Cent.
Okay, yeah.
Where the boy comes pick up the girl for prom or whatever, and then he's like, "Hey, let me talk to him for a second." Takes him to the garage, and there's these giant Samoan guys, and he's like, "Hey, man, like my daughter was under my protection, and now I'm giving you that protection." Over, so she'll be home like at 10:30. He's like, yeah, 10:30, and he's looking around to all these guys, and one of them speaks up to him in Samoan, and then the other guy's like, what he's trying to say is just have a great time tonight. And then he leaves, and they just burst out laughing, right? And after that, I showed her those clips. Part of me was super happy, and part of me is like, maybe I shouldn't have done that. I didn't want to, because I might have scared her into not telling me that she's interested in a boy, or interested in boys or girls, whatever. But so every once in a while I ask her, I'm like, hey, so like, what's going on? Like, you got any boyfriend or anybody that you like? And she's like, no, I don't want to talk about it. She doesn't talk to my wife about that either. And she's pretty honest with my wife, so I'm thinking that she might be interested, but not interested enough to actually get into a relationship, maybe.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I want her. What I've been trying to do is just basically we've been very open with everything, and just kind of tell her like, look, like boys are gonna be boys. They're gonna be trying. Different things. Like I took my daughter shopping, and she bought a few tops, and I was just like, look, I'm not going to say no, you can't buy it, because at the end of the day, it's your body. If you feel comfortable, I'm happy for you. But just know what boys are looking at.
It's that whole thing of like back in the day, there was like people would say, well, they were asking for it. No, you're not asking for it.
No.
You're absolutely not asking for it. But to discount the fact that there are going to be guys who are going to look
Yeah.
differently.
Well, and my
when
daughter, like my wife is big chested, and my daughter's following the same footsteps, and she's developed early. So like, when she has this top on, and I told her, I was like, this barely covers your sports bra, like, and I'm like, oh, it looks. I was like, you look really good in it. Like it fits her body, fantastic. But like, again, well, I'm gonna wear a hoodie. I'm like, at one point, you're
See, the worst
take that
fashion
hoodie
choices
off.
I have to worry about with my son is he likes wearing stuff for too long, so it looks like flood pants and shit like that. I'm like, dude, you're gonna get beat up.
Yeah. So it's really, really hard. I think I'm just going with the flow, like see what happens every day, and it's a day by day case. There's nothing I can really prep for.
Well, and see, and that's the thing. Like, you can only do so much as a parent, right? And at the end of the day, there's still always going to be the influence from the kids that they hang out with, and you
100%.
can't choose their friends for them. You can't force them into friend groups, because that's just going to create more pushback from them. So you have to just do your best as a parent, and then trust that they're going to make
The
good decisions.
Yeah.
Like my son, he wanted to go to the Pantera concert with a friend. And then the day he was going to buy tickets, he asked his friend, like, hey, just making sure you're still in. And his friend was like, oh, I already got tickets. So I told my son, I'm like, well, you know what? I'll go with you.
Yeah.
So I bought a ticket and bought him a ticket, and we went. And as soon as we get there, he's like, okay, well, I'm going to go look for my friend. So I basically sat there the whole time by myself, just like,
Yeah.
do. And he went off with his friends, which I'm totally cool with,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, it's... If that's the worst thing I have to do as a parent is go sit through a Pantera concert,
I mean, that sounds awful.
like, I'm doing okay, I think.
Yeah.
But after the show, he was even telling me, he was like, yeah, so some of those kids were talking about like doing drugs and being on drugs and stuff like that. And just the fact that he
How
felt...
old is your son?
He is 16.
Okay.
So, but the fact that he was comfortable with telling me that...
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, I know from his reaction that he wasn't interested in it. Like
Well, I did. I mean, it's like when I was smoking, when I was 13 and 14, and then my mom actually, she had never smoked before, but she lit up a couple smokes. I was like, oh, Mom, this is gross. Why are you doing it? I was playing the part of being innocent while I was like secretly smoking as well.
Yeah,
But I get what you're saying, though. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I really, again, like, he doesn't leave the house,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah,
I know
yeah.
he's not out
That's right,
smoking.
yeah.
He's not out doing drugs.
I couldn't leave I couldn't wait to leave the house so I can have a cigarette.
Yeah, and like, yeah, I just feel like it's nice to know that he's comfortable enough to talk to me about those things.
Like, I mean, yeah, I never, if I was doing something bad with my friends, I wouldn't go to my parents.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, they're talking about drugs and stuff, and like meanwhile I'd be high, like I would never do that. Yeah, unless you, like you said, like you trust your kid that he's not doing it, and
yeah.
No, it's tough. It's tough raising kids nowadays, man. But
I completely understand why some people decide not to.
And there's people that have just had kids, and then they're like, oh, I don't know how you're gonna do it. Like, what did you do? And I'm like, dude,
there's nothing I can tell you.
Don't worry about what I did. I can tell you how I did things, but you're gonna find your own way.
Yeah.
Because, excuse me.
What I tell you now is not going to
effects.
matter when you are completely sleep deprived in 2 weeks.
Well, it comes back to that balance. Depends what you do for work. Are you doing physical work, or are you're more mentally exhausted at the end of the day?
Exactly, and those produce two completely different outcomes at the end of the day as well.
So I just got a new job right now, and still within my work, but my work is now 100% mental. Like I don't have any more physical work at all. So I'm more exhausted. Like I come home and I need to decompress a little bit, because I just there was a lot of thinking that I had to do or whatever, and just like that like you can't recover as fast as from like if you're breaking concrete all day.
Yeah. Well, when I was young, my first handful
not
of
that
jobs.
breaking concrete is an easier job,
But my first handful of jobs were physical labor jobs, landscaping and stuff like that. And then when I moved over to office work, I was actually sleeping more after work when I did office work than when I was doing the physical labor. Because the physical labor, I feel like it keeps the blood flowing and stuff like
and
that,
your
right?
muscles get stronger, and you kind of build up a resilience to it.
Whereas the office work, I came home and I was just mentally exhausted, and like.
Well, and if you're in an office and you don't have a window, you don't get that sunlight in right away. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure I've told you the story before, but for years I worked in a basement where during the winter time, if I didn't go for a walk at lunch, I would go a whole week without seeing the sun because when I left for work in the morning, it's dark.
Yep.
And when I leave at the end of the day, it's dark.
It's dark, yep.
So, and there's no windows, you're underground. Like your skin would turn gray if you didn't physically take it upon yourself to go out at lunchtime and go topside. So, and that has a huge effect on your mental health as well. Like not ever getting that sunlight. So, the mental exhaustion that I was getting when I was in that position, and it was just not a fulfilling job at all either. Like it was literally one of those ones where you would show up, punch your card, tap away for 8 hours, checking the clock who knows how many times. And then, I would go home. I'd be in a bad mood as soon as I got home because there was just stuff frustrating me all day. So I mean, I think that's maybe something to touch on as well is making sure at some point in your day you take the time to, if you're not getting that physical activity, like I do it now every day at lunchtime, I use my lunch break to go for a walk. I walk about 2 kilometers. And even that, I've lost a lot of weight and I'm in a much better mental state often, I find.
You're getting oxygen. You're getting that sunlight, right?
And I also find that when I come home, I'm not just like, done. A lot of times I still have a bit of that residual energy left over where I can get a couple things done. And I find I'm one of those people, like, as long as I'm continually active, I keep having energy. The second I go and sit on the couch, that's when my day ends. So if I am coming home and I'm on a low already and I just go straight to the couch, then my day's over as soon as I get home from work. And that's not helping anything because then stuff starts piling up at home, you start getting overwhelmed, and then it's just a vicious cycle of not being able to catch up with it. So I think it's a huge thing to take that time to get at least a little bit of physical activity, even if it's just a bit of walking every day, a bit of fresh air, a bit of sunlight. Like all of those things can really make a massive difference. And that's not to say because I completely hate it when people use that, like someone says they're depressed and they're like, well, have you tried going for a walk? A walk in the woods is actually the greatest medicine. It's like, look, I agree that a walk in the woods is great for you. There's certain things that require medication still. That's not an answer.
Exactly. Have you tried being not sad,
It's like,
just don't be sad.
Your stomach hurts? Oh, have you tried pooping? Like, yes, that does work for a lot of people. But it's not always the case. No. You might have an ulcer.
Well, I think we can put a pin in this topic here. Again, balancing your work, your family, your activities. Make sure your well-being is taken care of.
I'm going to Matt Rife tonight. Make sure you laugh. Laughter is another huge thing.
There you go. Yeah, that's a good one. We have a few comedy shows lined up for this year, so I can't wait for that.
Yeah, when is that, Ian Bagg?
It's in April coming up,
That's coming up too.
Again, like, take care of yourselves, take care of your family, make sure you guys find the right way that works for yourselves. And just hopefully you're managing that work-life balance better than I am right now. Because I'm definitely struggling, and there's lots of things that you mentioned that I'd like to be doing, like doing the activities. I'm just not I think mentally I'm not there.
Hey, man, even our hockey that me and you both used to do every Wednesday, I have missed 4 out of the last 5 probably. Like, it's been tough.
As good as it is to go out there, like, it's just, I don't have it.
Life, man.
Yeah.
Life.
So thank you very much for joining me today here, filling in big shoes for Tim.
Yeah, I'm not a doctor, but I'll take a look.
That's right. I appreciate you coming kind of last minute, but this is
always a pleasure.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode with me and Bretzky ranting a little bit and just kind of discussing a few things. If you
completely unscripted,
okay, they're definitely unscripted, and I'm sure you guys can tell that. Please follow us on Instagram if you don't yet. It's at Quiet Riot Show, and if you have questions for me, Tim, or even Bretzky, you can send us an email at quietriot@gmail.com, and we'll definitely answer. We've got a few emails, and we always answer back to everyone. Rate our show too as well. Tim's not here to give me shit for this, so I'm definitely going to throw it out there. Rate and review our show.
Smash that like button.
Okay, thanks, buddy, again. And thanks for the beer and the foods that you brought today, so appreciate it.
Always a pleasure.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
All Quiet Riot Show episodes have been recorded and produced by SuverMedia. If you think you have an idea for a podcast but don't have the space or proper equipment, please visit SuverMedia.com for more information. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, please hit the follow button and leave us a review if the platform you are listening on allows you to do so. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Quiet Riot Show, and follow us on the Instagram page at Quiet Riot Show. Please share this episode with others that may be interested in these topics. If you know anyone that would enjoy these topics, feel free to share our podcast with them. Also, let us know what topics you'd like to see covered in future episodes. Get in touch with us in the comments on our channel and social media, or send us an email to quietriot@gmail.com.